Good morning, folks, and welcome to another great edition of Money Truth Moments with your very own Money Truth expert and whisperer, Judy Copenbarger. How are you today?
I am absolutely fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, right? This is going to be a great show, folks, because we have wrapped up summer. And if you didn't follow the summer series, you need to go back and take a look. There's a lot of great content for summer that you can always apply to everyday life as well, too. But I am very excited at the fact that we are starting a new month, right? We're now in September, and we
Hard
want
to
to really talk.
believe. Can you believe it?
It just flies by, right? And I think our next once we get to October, we'll have some special little treats for our listeners for sure and guests. So, folks, if you're not following Judy, please do so at judycopenbarger.today. All of her social media and resources are available on her website. Today, we're done with summer, and we want to talk about smart savings, like smart saving moves for the rest of 2025. That's going to be our topic. This may lead into multiple series stuff, but you need to stick around to find out. So what do you say we get started, Judy?
Let's do it.
All right. So let's start off by just saying, why is it this time of the year like so important for making financial adjustments?
Oh, it's just there's time to course correct. We still have a whole quarter left and then some. Of course, got holidays in there, but there's time to get it right and we can finish strong.
So when you talk about finish strong, is this for us that are just finishing off the summer? Some of us are still kind of in that summer mode and don't want to grow up and realize that no, summer's over. You got to get back to work, right? How do we transition that, like mindset wise? Like, what's a good way to transition?
You just said it. It's mindset. It's like you choose, right? Every day you choose chocolate or vanilla. You choose, to live with vigor or to live with upset or to live with no energy. You choose, right? It doesn't matter what you feel like. It's what you choose. And so if you choose to finish strong, and by that, I mean, you finish the year and you go, that was a good year. Financially, I'm where I want to be. I saved more than I expected. I mean, that would be great. I did what I wanted to do. I didn't overspend. I was able to catch up. I put money into my retirement. The kids have what they need. We're saving for the house and we're almost there. Whatever the goals are that you have, when you finish strong, you look back and you say, yes, I did good. We really thrived, not survived that last quarter. So there's time now. You got 4 months left, right? There's time to get that done and finish well. So let's do that.
What would you say in your experience? What are some of the common money mistakes people make, like as when summer ends and then fall begins? And I'm sure you've seen a lot, right?
Yeah, just failing to plan. There's always room. There's always room to do more, better, different. More, better, different. And if you're always checking in to see how you can course correct and do a little bit, tweak a little bit, things like, meals in the summer is a little crazy. You have more company over. We just had a house full for this whole Labor Day weekend. And so, you end up, okay, well, we had a busy day. We're tired. Let's just order in. Well, that takes a little bit more money, maybe not effort, but more money than it would be if we would have prepared that one meal. And so things like that you can plan for. Meals is a big one. And going into the fall, now that we get back into the routine, a lot of us, if you have kids are back in school, fall, schedule, finishing up the last quarter, whatever your business is, sometimes that's cyclical. But you get back into that routine. So meals, I think, is for most families, is the big line item that has the most variability in it. Are we eating out? Are we eating in? Are we doing convenience foods? Are we preparing it ourselves, cutting up our own chicken? All the way down to little things like that. But there's always room. Besides meals, there's several categories that, boy, I would spend time in those areas, to find ways to cut costs if that's your goal. And you want to really finish well and take those expenses out of the expense item and put them into the savings item before the end of the year, especially with holidays. Right? Wouldn't it be cool to go into the holidays with a bunch of cash that you saved and you're ready and then you whip out the credit cards? So why don't we just do that?
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right. And you kind of answer my next question, which is I'm actually was gonna ask you about, how to start thinking differently, right? At saving money for the rest of the year. And that sometimes it's a lot easier said than done because like we just said, summer's over, party's over, but here's reality.
Yeah. Well, meals is one, but there are other categories. a whole entertainment thing. We're bowling, we're golfing, we're out doing this, we're doing all these things. Just think about, how we can, if we need to belt tighten and we want to really save and take money out of the line item of expenses and put it into savings, what can we do in the next few months that would just cut down on the entertainment part? And entertain ourselves, right? Get creative about that. Another thing, subscriptions tend to go up in the summer. The kids are home. You're thinking, oh, let's watch more movies. Let's watch more fights or, whatever it is. So you subscribe to all the stuff on, if you think your phone, your device, the TV, all the things that you have, take the whole family together. You might have 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 subscriptions. Do you really need them all? Was it for that one introductory deal where you wanted to watch that movie or that series? And now it's over and you're back, you're not going to have time anyway, right? You're back in your routine. So check the subscriptions, look at your credit card statement, look at your bank statements and see what subscriptions you have. You might not need all of those. And another one is utilities. Everything, the utilities. When we're home and everybody's on their devices and all that, you can imagine power goes up, but everything else, the AC's on a little more, all that stuff. So just think, okay, now that we're off to work, off to school, cut down your utilities by turning down your AC or turning up your heating during the day when you're gone. And if you have it where it's automatic and it comes back on an hour before you get home, great, right? But if you don't have that, just dial it up, dial it down, and just add it to the list of other things that you do automatically every day. That can save so much money. Now, where we live, we have tiers for our power. There's gas and water and all those other things you can conserve. But the big cost in our area is electricity. And I think that's kind of a growing concern across the country. And here our tiers say if you use your power in the morning, midnight to 10 in the morning, it costs very, very little. Or well, it's not very little, but it's less. And then 10 to 4, it costs a little bit more. It's like a band of a little bit more. Then it goes 6 times more for the evening hours when everybody's home after school, after work, everybody's home using their stuff till about midnight again. And why not do the big things, charging the car, if you charge your car on power, laundry, the things that take a lot of extra power, why not do those things earlier in the day when it's a fraction of the cost? And if you don't pay attention to all that stuff, you wouldn't know, but it might be an easy way to save a bunch of money. And if it's just $50, $100, maybe a few $100, in our case, a month, that adds up by Christmas time. If you do that all year long, that pretty much pays for all the stuff under the tree, right?
Right.
By cutting that little 5 to 10% every day and being smart about your use. So little things like that you can do makes a really big difference on the other end.
So you mentioned the holidays, and that's actually a great segue to the question I was going to ask you was, what role does preparing early for holiday expenses play in the overall financial plan or financial health?
Yeah, that's a great question. It spreads it out. It eases the pain. If savings is hard for you or it's a struggle or it's painful or feels like sacrifice, I don't think it is. I think it's repositioning. But if it feels hard, it's like, I have so many other items tugging on this money, other places, and it's hard to hang on to it. Just spread it out over the year. So every time you get a paycheck, tuck a little bit away, $20, $50, tuck it away, spread it out over the year. It makes a big difference. And you still have time. We have weeks and weeks before the holidays. So you still have time to do that. And then you just start in January for next year. And imagine what that would be like if you'd done it this last year, right? So it's never too late to start. Makes a big difference.
So one of the things that I want to remind folks is you've always talked about buckets, right? So I want you to maybe just touch a little bit on that and maybe apply that for the holidays as well, too, because I think what you're saying is phenomenal way of doing this.
Yeah. So, well, there's different kind of buckets. There's long-term buckets, saving for retirement. And it's like some for now, some for soon, and some for later. I think are the 3 big buckets if you just generalize everything. The money you need for now, and there's needs, wants, and wishes, but you need it, right? We got to pay the mortgage this month. We've got to pay, to put gas in the car. We've got to pay for groceries and the things we need, insurance premiums, we've got to pay for that right now. And then there are things that we need soon. Right now, I would say the holiday expenditures, we know they're going to be there and they're coming up pretty soon, right? A few months away is pretty soon. And so we want to have some money every time we get an allocation, we get a paycheck, we get money that comes in the beginning of the month or whenever you get paid. When it comes in, part of it goes toward the soon things. That's your short-term goals. And then part of it goes like it never happened. It goes to long-term savings. That's for later. Now, soon, and later. And if every time you have a little extra money, and every paycheck there should be some, right? If unless you're digging out, we could talk about that. But you have this extra money, where does it go? Oh, I've got $500. Let's just go party, right? Well, you could do that, or you could say, why don't we spend 100 of it now and do whatever we want? That's for now. We're just going to have, have a nice evening out or whatever. And then what if 200 goes to short term? Put that in your Christmas fund or your holiday fund. And then 200 goes to long term like it never happened. You'll thank yourself later. Really, your future self will thank you for having done that. And most people, when I see them come through my practice, the ones that have done really well and they're joining the country club and they join the cruise of the month club and they're doing all these great things. And it's like they always have money to help their family and take these trips and take care of causes that they care about, charitable things. They did it not because they inherited bazillions. Once in a while people get lucky, they get to do that, right? I didn't choose my family well for that, right? We chose for love, not for inheritance. But we're able to do our own, which is great. But the people that do really well and have that lifestyle and that ability to have extra money have that because they did this now, soon, later, or some version of that. They always saved for later. And now later has come because time happens, right? When later shows up, you have that money. Like Mr. Money's been out there working for you. And it's the people that did the little bit, the teachers and the police officers and the firemen, the ones that never made like millions during their lifetime, having their own businesses and doing all that. But they put that little bit away and now their future is handled and they've got the money. So you can do it too.
Folks, and thank you for joining us. If you're just recently joined us, please make sure that you are watching the rest of some of our summer series as well too. If you're not following Judy, please do so at judycopenbarger.today. So make sure that if you also have any questions, let us know and we would love to address it as well too. We are talking about the rest of 2025 and what does that look like savings. We went through a fantastic summer with a lot of great tips and wisdom, but this is where it comes down to the wire, right? This is where you have to get back to reality. Holidays are coming up, so if you're not prepared, you need to. And also make sure that you watch the beginning of the show if you're just joining us now. What would you say what are some of the overlooked savings opportunities, right, that people should take advantage of before the year ends?
Well, if you have your own business and you don't already have a SEP IRA, that's a simplified employee pension, or a 401k in your own business, consider setting one of those up and put money in that is deferred growth. You don't have to pay the taxes right now, you pay it later. That can really do a great job for saving for later if you have your own business and the ability to do that. If not, look into your employer programs. They might have a 401k or a 403b or some kind of a retirement plan, but they also might have life insurance, health insurance, HSA, the health savings account program. That's where all of your Band-Aids, all of your co-payments, all of your medical related stuff, dentist, chiropractic, all of that, you're going to pay, but it's going to be without having to pay tax on the money first, right? Using an HSA. So that's a great program. And a lot of companies have them. Even if you have an employer, but they don't have the program, you can do them on your own now, which is great. So look into educational assistance if you're going to take a class or if you're already in school. See if the employer will help you, either reimburse you or help you pay for those classes or those courses. Gym memberships, if you're already a part of a gym and your employer has a program to reimburse you or cover that, look into that, right? If you don't ask, they're probably not going to tell you. Technology discounts. Sometimes they're like, hey, we have a whole library of iPads back here. Anybody that wants an iPad or some kind of a computer device to use or subscriptions, we've got help for that. There's access to these things with the employer. So look into that, become friends, get to know your HR person, your payroll people, and find out what resources might be there to not only benefit you, but maybe save money that you're already spending on benefits that are provided. You just didn't know. So check it out. A lot of things you can do before year's end.
Absolutely. And I think to add to your point on there, I think that sometimes we don't I mean, we tend to forget that there are discounts out there. If you're in education, if you're a teacher, if you're a student, you don't have to buy the latest and greatest. Kind of like, I think it goes hand in hand with cars, right? So the older it is, a little bit like a year old, you're going to get it at a better discount. Most people just want the latest and greatest. But if you look at, what's under the hood, it's not a whole lot of difference, but you're paying that extra $1,000 or whatever it is that you're at. So that's an extra bonus tip for you guys. For
Absolutely.
sure.
From the tech guy. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many opportunities. You just gotta, you gotta ask. You gotta ask.
Absolutely. So we're getting close to the end of the show, but I want to ask you, what is the best way to reset or adjust our spending plan mid-year?
I think you just calendar it. It's kind of like the Nike thing, just do it. And if you calendar it, you can calendar it right now, so the goal is by the end of September, by October 1st, we're going to have this plan in place for Q4, for the last quarter this year of what we're going to spend, what we're going to save, what our goals are. Right. And maybe it's having that pile of cash for the holidays where you just, go to the cookie jar instead of going to the credit cards for a lot of those things. It'll give you a good head start. But I would say it's just calendaring it. And then while you're at it, go ahead and calendar maybe by January 31st, have another financial check-in, and just get clear about your goals and what you want to save. And when the money comes in, what we're going to do. A lot of people plan their tax returns around tax returns, right? They expect money to come back. They want that refund. If you expect that in the spring, what's the plan for that? Are you going to buy a new car? Is it going to go to, the kids' summer camp? What's it going to be for? Or is it just going to be money showed up, let's just blow it? Well, you can be intentional and plan now for maybe first week of March, have a little financial check-in. Here's what we expect our refund to be. Here's how we're going to allocate it. Some for now, some for soon, some for later. What would that be like, right? And I'll tell you, you will thank yourself later. If you do that every year for the next 5 years, 10 years, what will be out there in your bucket is probably going to surprise you, especially if you get it working correctly and allocated properly. It makes a big difference at the other end. So you can do it, get it on the calendar, and then just do it.
Just do it, folks. And we are at the tail end of the show, so you guys know what that means. It's our Money Truth Challenge. And what do you got for us today?
Okay, this is your plan. Before Sunday at 5 o'clock, come up with a list of 2 things, pencil and paper. One is a list of 3 things that you can do to cut your expenses between now and the end of the year. The other side of the page is 3 things you can do to save that for your future self, right? What am I going to do with it? The intentional part. I'm going to do something about, the holidays this year. I'm going to do something about the holidays next year. I'm going to plan for next summer vacation because we just are paying that one off, right? I'm going to plan for beginning of school next year. What am I going to do about the future goals now, soon, and later for the extra money that I'm saving with these expenses that I've cut out or pared down? And 10% is your goal. You don't have to cut all the expenses out. But if you can find 10% in several line items, that's a lot of cash. That's your challenge.
All right, folks, you're the challenge. If you have any questions, you would like extra help, please let us know. Send us a message and we'd love to address it. Remember, we are here every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. with the replay on Thursdays at 8 p.m. And if you're not following Judy, please do so. JudyCopenbarger.today. Like I said, there's a wealth of resources on our website. Please make sure that you visit it, follow her on social media, share the stream with your friends. Judy, any last parting words?
Oh, make it a great week. Enjoy the rest of the year. It's just so exciting. I love this time of year. Have a good one.
All right. Take care, guys. Until next week.